This program is an introduction to the operation of the RCI510 load moment system. This video gives you an overview of the system. The machine and the system must not be operated until you have read and understood the operating instructions for the crane and the RCI510 system, along with the SEMA safety manual, the latest ASME B30.5 standard, and know the OSHA, federal, state, and local regulations applicable to your job. The RCI510 provides the operator an indication of the allowable load in a given configuration, the actual load on the crane, boom length, boom angle, radius, and warnings of unsafe conditions. We'll start with an overview of the display screen, then use several scenarios to illustrate a variety of crane setups. We will then take you through the steps necessary to program the RCI510 for that particular setup. Let's start by looking at the display screen and identifying the various buttons. This is the outrigger selection button. This is the on tires button, the counterweight button, front and rear winch button, jib stowed button. This is a manual section boom mode button. This is your jib button, your auxiliary head button, and your point of lift selection button. On the other side is your boom length display, boom angle display, and radius display. This display shows rated capacity in the current configuration, while this displays actual load. In between is parts of line. This is the anti-2 block light. This is the overload indicator light, and below that, the pre-alarm indicator light. The bar graph, located here, indicates actual load as a percentage of rated capacity. On the bottom is our information screen, and to the far right, the operator alarm button and lamp. This is the cancel alarm button. Here the crane has the jib stowed and is ready for travel. We'll want to set up the RCI510 for rigging travel mode. We do this by pressing the on tires button. The light will flash, indicating we need to supply more information. Our options are listed on the auxiliary screen. We will select the rigging travel mode option. The tires light is illuminated to show that we are on tires, and the auxiliary display shows that rigging travel mode has been selected. As you can see, we now have the crane on fully extended outriggers, and we will be lifting from the main boom. To get the system on outriggers, we simply press the outrigger button. If it's on the wrong setting, press the button until the correct setting appears. Since we are working with 3 parts of line, we need to change the parts of line display to 3. If we were using a different outrigger position, for instance half extended, we'd push the outrigger button again. Fully retracted, push the outrigger button twice. We'll be using the fully extended position. The auxiliary head is currently erected and unused. If we take the auxiliary head off, we'd press the auxiliary head button, and the auxiliary headlight will go out. To erect the auxiliary head, and to pick from the auxiliary head. We now have to select which jib we'll be working with. We'll start by selecting the stowed jib button. Our 3 options are now displayed. They are no jib, 26-foot offsettable jib, and 26 to 43-foot telejib. We're going to be using the 26 to 43-foot telejib. That jib is now stowed, and that's indicated by this light. Some cranes will have options unavailable on this crane. For instance, additional boom modes and additional counterweights. Since they are not available on this crane, pressing these buttons will only produce a message. Since we will be picking off the main boom, we will select the main boom as our picking point. We are now ready to pick up a load. When the load is lifted, you will see the load displayed here. Also notice our percentage of rated capacity displayed on the bar graph. As the load is lowered, you can see the display change appropriately. As you have seen, there are 3 outrigger positions on this crane, but for this operation we will use the pick and carry position, working on the tires. To select pick and carry, press the tires button. The light will flash, indicating we need to add additional information. From the display screen, select the on tire 2.5 miles per hour centered over front option. We are now ready to drive off. In this scenario, the crane will attempt to pick up a load from the roof of the building. Notice also that the telejib is erected and our outriggers are fully extended. When using the telejib, don't forget to switch the ATB plugs over from the main boom to the stinger. First, we need to remove the anti-two-block weight from the boom head and install it on the end of the jib. Then insert the lockout pin to make the switch inoperable. If the load line is being relocated, for example from the main boom head to the jib, then the anti-two-block weight should be relocated along with the load line. Next, remove the dummy plug from the socket on the boom head. Take the plug from the main body of the jib and place it into the boom head socket. Run the plug from the stinger onto the main body of the jib, and finally, place the dummy plug into the socket on the stinger. The telejib is now ready to use. The first thing we need to do is press the fully extended outrigger button. Now we will erect our 26-foot telejib. Press the jib button and select 26-foot jib with 0-degree offset. In this position, we can't reach back far enough onto the roof, so we need to extend the stinger and set the jib to 30-degree offset. To erect the stinger, press the jib button. The display screen now shows 3 options, plus Next. Press Next to see the next screen. Now press the 43-foot telejib with 30-degree offset. We're now ready to make our pick. Here we seem to have topped out. We've run the boom elevation cylinders out to full extension. If you get your crane into a non-working situation, you can use the cancel alarm. Press the cancel alarm button once to turn off the audible alarm. Press and hold it to override the condition and allow the crane to be brought back to a safe condition. We can now reach the load safely. There are several alarms that can be turned on or off from the display. To gain access to the operator alarms, press the alarm button. The alarms are minimum angle, maximum length, and maximum height. The alarms are set by pressing the button next to the desired selection. This button will toggle the alarms on and off. For example, to set the minimum boom angle of 0 degrees alarm, with the crane boomed to 0 degrees, press this button. To cancel the alarm, press the button again. To exit the operator alarm screen, simply press the operator alarm button twice. To set swing alarms, press the operator alarm button twice. We then have 4 options: left swing, left point, and right point. Press the button to set the alarm or turn it off. For either of these alarms, both the left and right limits must be set. To exit the operator alarm screen, simply press the operator alarm button. When the operator sets the swing left and right alarms, he is defining a pie slice-shaped work area, with the crane at the center of the pie. He can move the boom tip around within the pie-shaped area in any manner he chooses. When these alarms are set, no audible alarm will sound unless the operator swings the boom beyond one of the pie's sides. Now let's talk about the work area alarm, which is set with the left and right points. The left and right points define an invisible vertical wall, which is longer and taller than the crane can reach. Let's use an example to better explain. Say the crane is set up near a large multi-story building, and the operator doesn't want the boom tip to ever get closer to the wall of the building than 10 feet. By setting the left and right points, each one 10 feet away from the wall of the building, an invisible wall is created that passes through both of these points and is located 10 feet off the wall of the building. Then, when operating the crane, an alarm will sound any time the boom tip is moved nearer to the building wall than 10 feet, or past the invisible wall. This happens regardless of which functions are causing the boom tip to move closer to the wall. Detailed information on setup is contained in the operator's manual. Well, I hope this helps get you started with the RCI510. And remember, options and features vary from crane to crane, so it's extremely important that you read and understand the operator manual that came with your machine for more information.